You're listening to Rise to Your Purpose, a personal and spiritual development podcast for female entrepreneurs with a mission.
We're your hosts, Brandie and Natalie. All right. Hey, Purpose Partners. It is Natalie and Brandie. We are on today, and we are going to be talking about our DMOs as Kingdom entrepreneurs. What does our day look like? So we're going to be taking you behind the scenes. This was a question that we've gotten a couple of times, and so we thought it would be a great thing just to go and share with you guys exactly kind of what we're doing. How are we making our businesses work? So we both have a low ticket and a high ticket business. We are both coaching with Victorious Entrepreneurs Rising and have one-to-one clients, as well as working with our Rise to Your Purpose members. And on top of that, we both work full-time as well. And as you know, Brandie is a new mom. So we definitely have busy schedules and we always have a lot going on. And so one of the things that is super important to us is that we are staying in alignment, because it can be really easy then to get derailed or get burnt out. And so that's why one of our big missions is to help you guys and all of us learn how to operate our businesses and our lives from a place of rest, so that we don't get into that grind and that hustle and feel that burnout or that lack. And so we're going to kind of walk you through our day. How do we make it all work? No, we're not perfect. And no, this isn't every single day. Not every single day goes the way that we plan or the way that we want, but there are definitely things that we've put in place that have allowed us to maximize our time and maximize our efforts and optimize really like what we have been able to do and what God has called us to, while staying in alignment with that. And we can almost immediately, and I think Brandie can speak to that too, is like we can almost tell immediately when we are not in alignment, because of the way we're feeling. We become very aware of how we feel or how we're operating and working. And so we have both been learning how to then stop, like pause, reflect, pivot if we need to, take some time out if we need to. And so we want to encourage you to do that, as well as make sure that you know what your core values are and that you're in alignment. Brandie always does every month an amazing a workshop called the Proverbs 31 Woman, and building that business as a Proverbs 31 woman. And so if you have not gotten that workshop, you definitely are going to want to be a part of that. So check for the emails that we send out, and make sure in our Purpose Partner community, because we always share it there as well. So let's go ahead and dive in. So Brandie, I will let you start. Let's just kind of go through our day. So let's talk about our morning. We get up and what happens. So why don't we start?
So we get up, and for me, it's a little bit different because I do have an 18-month-old son. So he's actually usually my alarm clock. And so once we are both up, I get him situated. I might do some chores, but actually, let me back up. Before I even get out of bed, the first thing I do is say a little prayer. And it's basically like, God, I choose you, and I choose to believe that I am who you say I am. So before I even get out of bed, I'm choosing God. I'm choosing to partner with him, choosing to align with him. I'm acknowledging him, and then I'm acknowledging my divine identity in him. So that just sets my tone for the morning, because I don't always get to go directly into my devotional time. And so at least I'm like, hey, God, I acknowledge you. One, help me get out of this bed because I'm tired. Two, just help me get through this morning. So I do my morning routine. Sometimes I'm doing dishes in the mornings. You know, it could be an hour before I actually get to sit down and do my devotional time. But devotional time is definitely something that I have prioritized. It is a core value of mine. And I think it's very important, before you even come up with a DMO, that you identify and understand what are your core values, and create boundaries around those core values so that you can prioritize things such as faith and devotional time and quiet time. So yeah, with all that being said, I do my devotional, and then I start my day job. So I usually start working around 8:30 or 9 and go until about 4:30. And then it's family time. So again, I prioritize my core value. So I take a break after work, do family time core value. So like today, I exercised and played out in the rain with Elijah. And now he's in bed, like we did dinner, he's in bed, so now it's business time.
So
So
I actually want to stop you there because I want to go back because you said something that was really funny that I didn't know. We kind of did similarly, but going back to the morning time. So you said you wake up and you say, Lord, I choose you and I choose who you say I am. Is that right?
yep.
And so one thing that I do when I wake up is I always say, "Good morning, Lord," like almost exactly like that. And so so I thought that was funny that you did something that like in a way that you acknowledge him, that like
Mhm.
you're starting your day with him. And I also like that you said, because I know in our Rise to Your Purpose program, we talk a lot about the importance of having a mindful morning. But of course, there can be sometimes chaos in the morning, especially if you have kids, or if you don't always wake up on time like you planned, or things can happen. And so I don't want anybody to feel like shame or condemnation if they're not doing and spending time in the word or in their devotional first thing in the morning. Like you have to make it work for you and know that you can abide in him and you can commune with him all day. And so like, and sometimes for me, I almost have to get some things done, like chores or little tasks that I know I can just immediately check off my list to make me not feel stressed and to feel like, okay, now I actually can focus on scripture or the devotional or just praying, because otherwise I know my mind's going to be spinning with, I got to do this, this, and this. But I'm still trying to be very intentional. And I think you said you were too, of making sure before everything else kind of continues to happen, that we do have that time in the word, in scripture, maybe listening to worship music. So for me, it's also because I'm a teacher, I know I'm like my day starts and ends kind of at the same time every day. So I set my alarm at time to have my time in the morning. And I typically like to listen to worship music while I'm getting ready, or I'll listen to a podcast, or sometimes I just am with my thoughts. And then I immediately take my supplements to help me start my day with like good energy. And I drink a glass of water. And then you head to the couch. So like I'm already ready before I even get into the word, because I want to feel good and not feel sluggish and things like that. So that was something I used to just get up and immediately go into the scripture if I could, but I realized I wasn't like fully there because I'd still be groggy. So definitely like getting yourself ready, I think, can be helpful. And then going into that quiet time with the Lord before your day really begins. So like Brandie and I, we both typically then start our job. And so we know we kind of have that time blocked out for our full-time job. So do you do any business while you're working your full-time job? Because I know we hear a lot like build your business around the cracks of your life. So some people choose to use their lunch hour, or if they have break times. So do you tend to do business during the day as well sometimes?
If I do, it's usually around my lunch break. But I do, it just depends. Like if I need to do a client call over lunch, I am totally open to that, or do a strategy call. That is something that I do offer. But honestly, I do try to take that lunch break to actually eat and just break up my day. And so sometimes I'm watching just a TV show for 30 minutes because that's also Elijah's nap time. So it's my just kind of peace and quiet, recharge time. I think there's seasons too, right? So there's been seasons in my life where I would eat and work an hour of business. And I think right now I'm just in a season where I just need to create some more mental health space where I'm not on my phone or I'm not tied to a computer. So right now it's just nice to just kind of sometimes it's just like watching reels, like literally just taking my mind off of work, off of business, off of family, and just kind of zoning out for a minute. Um, but yeah, like so if I need to answer a call or a message and I have the time to do, like if it's on a break or something, but I do try to focus. If I'm at work, I'm at work. And that is something that's one of my core values. So going back to why it's important to identify your core values, because then you actually create space for your core values. So my core value is to be present in everything I do. So if it's God time, I'm present in God time. If it's work time, I'm present in work time. If it's business time and family time, fitness time, etc. Like, so that's what I'm focusing on and trying not to actually divide my time, because then you know, people think multitasking is actually good, but it's really not. You're not being excellent in anything, you're actually breaking apart your focus on multiple different tasks at the same time. So yes, you may be achieving or checking things off, but are you actually being excellent in stewarding each of those things well? So for
Uh,
me personally, that's something I've started to change in my life.
Yeah, no, I think that's really good because I used to glorify multitasking. I thought I'm amazing because I would multitask. And then I realized really all that's creating is more distraction and more burnout for my brain. Like I was never giving my brain time to rest. And so that would then just trickle into how I would feel. And so I think, and like you said, there are seasons. I mean, I remember we both started our businesses and of course you're excited about it and there's a lot of things like there's that momentum there and you don't want to lose that momentum. And when you are doing multiple things, like I used to work when I was first starting my network marketing business, I was also working 2 other jobs outside of teaching. So I had to use any kind of crack that I had to respond to messages or do reach outs or post or things like that. So I was very consistent and diligent about that. But I'm now too, though, in a place where I realized like you, like I definitely want to be more present with where I am. And so I compartmentalize almost or time block. And this is
Mhm.
something that Brandon also teach a lot about is the power and the importance of time blocking because you actually get your time back. If you want time freedom, it comes through time blocking and it
Right.
comes through, like she said, creating and that synergy and having your time blocked around those core values and almost so that you can be present and be excellent at like each part that you're doing. Now that said, sometimes I might use my lunch hour because I've kind of felt the same way. I was like, it's healthy for you too. Like I think there's a bunch of health and science
Mhm.
behind that of like you need to take your lunch break and actually just eat.
Yeah.
But I do, sometimes that's usually when I will check my messenger or quickly and easily get back to people and I can voice message them or whatever. I may do that during that time. Or sometimes I do use it to maybe catch up on a training that I'm wanting to watch or listen to a podcast or something like that. So that is the time there where I may multitask. But yeah, I definitely I've learned to where I used to like be on my phone a lot during the day at school. And now I'm pretty much just do school. And then I set aside time in the evening more for business. So definitely always do what works for you. But I think if you can learn to really time block, that is so good. And then you said something about being excellent. And I'm trying to see if I can find it because I don't have it. Um, don't have it memorized, but here it is. So talking about kind of excellence, I've been doing these, I have these mantras written out and that I read. And one of them was talking about, I am lacking nothing. I trust God with all areas of my life. The kingdom is abundant and so am I. God designed me to create wealth. An excellent steward of my resources and I'm an excellent steward of money. And I am honoring God with my time and finances. And
Mhm.
so that just kind of made me think of that when you said about like, working towards
Yeah.
excellence in your areas. That was something that was spoken to me through our Radiant Leadership Academy. So that made me so I want to share that with you guys.
I like that. That's awesome. Yeah, so then when it is business time, which usually I don't start focused business time where I'm actually just focused on business um, until after 8 o'clock in the evening. And then I will work sometimes until midnight. My goal is to be done at 11 and be in bed by midnight. Um, and so it just kind of depends because, like Nellie said, we do one-on-one coaching. So sometimes I'll have calls that go 8 and 9 o'clock. So then I don't actually get to start my personal business, DMO until 10. So, and I'm a night person. And so that works for me. I honestly would prefer to stay up late and sleep in. that would
That's
be my
fine.
ideal life. Thank God though, like really do. I just praise God that I have energy and I can sleep for 6 hours and pretty much like get up and go. Once I put eye drops in my eyes in the morning and I'm pretty much like as long as my eyes aren't dry and tired, I am good to go. So like I don't even start with coffee. Coffee is just kind of like a dessert, a mid-morning dessert for me almost. Um, and then it takes me like 2 hours I feel like to drink it. So I think sometimes that's just because of having a child and working and my husband, if you don't have one of these ladies in your mom, get a coffee mate. They're like candle warmers basically, but for your coffee mugs, and it keeps it hot throughout the entire morning, which is awesome.
I bet a lot of moms do that.
And yeah,
Well, and I like what you said that you are choosing to start business after Elijah goes to bed, after you've had family time. And so like 8 to 11, maybe 8 to midnight, which I think proves to the woman who is here not working a full-time job that you can really build your business in 3 hours or less.
yeah,
And if you're not working, if you're not doing and diversifying your income yet, then you really only have probably one business that you're focusing on. So you could even probably do that business very well within 1 hour if you are super committed and know what and know what you need to do during that time. And so there's a lot that you can actually do in 3 hours or less and be successful and, you know, work towards those results that you're looking for. And so that's one thing that for me, I don't have kids yet. So typically I come home, I might take a break with Skylar. So he's kind of like, that's family time is very much a core value for me too. So we try and make sure we kind of say hi, see each other, but we're in a season where business is very important to both of us. And we're both building our careers in that way. And he's in the filmmaking industry. So I might come home, he'll say hi to me, and then he goes back into his office where he's been working since like 8 a.m. and he'll work till like 9 p.m. Just depending, because he's working with a lot of people on the West Coast. So he's always on their time zone essentially. And so being able to kind of work around that too. But we also just one thing, like if you have a spouse or a family, you want to communicate. Like one thing Brandie and I are very intentional about too is making sure like our husbands know what our schedule is and vice versa. Like Brandie plans around when Jeremy is off work and has his nights off, so she doesn't work either. Scout and I communicate, hey, I have Zoom meetings tonight, or hey, I have this coaching call. Hey, here's when we're going to eat dinner. Like we still try and make sure we eat dinner together. And I try and get all my business done before 9 or 10 o'clock. So that way I can spend the rest of the evening either watching a movie with him or spending time with him or going to bed early. So if I can, I have a new health commitment, which is trying to be going to bed by 10:30 and asleep at 11, but we're working on that one. So yeah, so that just goes to show you really can be very intentional with your business. So what is those, we kind of talked about how does our day look like? What does those daily method of operation kind of look like? Just with life and business infused together. And then now, okay, you have that 3 hour chunk time, or you have that 1 hour of time to do your business. What should those things, like what should you be doing in your business? And this is something we have a whole structure and framework we give you in our Rise to Your Purpose program, but we can kind of give you like, here's the gist of that. And really, if you don't do anything else, depending on where you're at in your business, it'll look different for everyone. But here's the like basic foundations that you would need to be doing for your business if you are growing organically online. So, Brandie, you want to share what those things would be?
yeah, I do. Before we dive into that though, I want to back up for a minute and just call out ladies, especially ladies who are married and have families, that your business should not be a priority above your spouse or above your family. I believe the way God designed us, if we're creating a business that wants to really serve the kingdom and be for God in alignment with Him, we are first and foremost to be partners with God, then be partners with our spouse, then support our family, and then our business is a gift that we get to steward after those priorities are taken care of. So whatever that looks like for you, I mean, my husband and I, we work opposite schedules. He's a night shift guy. So that is also why I work night, why I also start my business in the evening. But like Nellie said, when he's off work, that is a priority for me. If we decide like, hey, we're going to hang out for a couple hours and then he may want to play Xbox and have his alone time too, that's fine. And one thing that's helped us is that we have an actually shared calendar, a shared Google calendar. So if I have calls, he is aware of that. But I just wanted to point that out because that was a huge, I think, hindrance to my business and my marriage for a while, because I was putting my business over my relationship with my husband, and it did strain our marriage for a little bit. And now that we have a child, like that's definitely something that I don't want, that I just don't believe God is going to give us a gift that's going to hinder a commitment that He ordained to be good, right? So I just wanted to point that out. If you're struggling in that area, that it could be, if you're struggling in your business and struggling in relationships, it's probably because you're out of alignment with the actual prioritization of those those different sections of your life. So
Yeah. I also
anyway,
think with that, like, and this might be a whole nother topic that maybe
right,
you can do a podcast on, but it also makes me think about like not having mom guilt or wife guilt. Like
right,
you also are, if you're taking your business serious and your husband or spouse like knows that, then well, one, if they aren't treating it seriously, then that probably means you haven't been taking your business seriously. So they don't think that, they think you're just wasting your time. So,
right.
but if you are showing them that, hey, yes, this is a commitment of mine, and you make that be known, then also don't have that wife guilt for taking some time away,
Yeah,
or that mom guilt for getting on a meeting or a training or being on your phone for a certain amount of time, because this is your job. And since this is a way for you to create money and create wealth for your family, but you also need to make sure that you're stewarding that, like we said, and being committed to that so that your family sees that, yes, this is important and this is a commitment. But if they see you're not really consistent, you're not really treating it like a business, then that might be why you get some of that guilt or that slack. But that could totally be
right. Yeah.
a whole other podcast. But I did want to kind of share that because that came up on a coaching call today. And so that,
Mhm.
there should not be that guilt around it
Yeah.
either, if you know you're called to it.
Right. I agree. Okay, diving into what are the actual daily, the DMO, the high payoff activities that I do when it is focused business time. So the first thing I do, since I am building online, right, I am going to my social media platform and I'm engaging. So one of the things that I do first is comment on 15 people, and you can choose whatever number you want. 15 just is the number that I do. It gives me a goal and it also gives me a stopping point. So it keeps me from wasting time scrolling through my newsfeed. But it also makes sure I'm engaging enough time for like the algorithm to kick in, for Facebook or Instagram to know that, hey, I'm on here and I'm doing something. So that way when I post or do a Facebook Live, the algorithm is supposed to be, pushing my post up into other people's newsfeed. So the first thing I do is I engage with 15 people. 15, I would say, legit posts, right? So if they're just shared posts, I'm not going to comment on those. But if it's like somebody is actually sharing a value post or they're talking about their family or their life, and I can comment on it and like add value and have like a legit comment, I will do that. So the first 15 legit newsfeed posts I comment on, and then I do something on my page that is adding value. So either that's a post, a long form post, a Facebook Live. Those are primarily the two I use. Occasionally I'll do like the block post where it's just the color background if you're on Facebook. And then do stories. So I'm creating my content and it's always value focused and geared towards my ideal audience. So prior to even hopping on social media, I did research and understood who am I serving, why am I serving them, and what is the value I offer to them. So when I show up, these people know who I am. They know why I'm here on the social media platform, and they know that they can come to me to solve their specific problem. So again, I'm just always adding value. If you go through it, either my Facebook or Instagram newsfeed, it is very value focused on my primary target audience that I'm trying to serve. And then my stories is a mixture of business and just like personal life. So I engage with people and then I add value on my posts on my newsfeed. Then I will do follow-ups and or engagement messages. So then I hop over to my DM message box and I'm following up with messages. Some days I just need a day that's just focused on messages. I don't necessarily follow up with everybody every day. It kind of just depends on the influx of messages I get, but my goal is to always follow up with everybody within 24 to 48 hours if I'm not traveling or anything like that. And then I also like to accept friend requests and always message those people asking them what's going on in their life and business. And if I haven't talked to anybody in a while, then I'm messaging, maybe some new people, trying to just re-engage with some relationships. So yeah, so that's me. Messenger time, which is honestly, that's where you build your businesses in Messenger. So you're getting leads from your posts and your stories that then lead into conversations. So I'm getting people to, maybe my Proverbs 31 workshop, I'm scheduling a strategy call. I'm getting them on a call for, my high ticket or low ticket network marketing business. So I'm getting them into my funnel, right? Working them through my funnel of getting to know them, trying to figure out what is their pain point, and then how do I solve that? Can I solve their pain point? And then getting them on a Zoom or a call to connect with them personally. So I think that's pretty much like my DMO. And when I'm done, right? So I'm not like, my goal is to message 20 people. I may not, it's 11 o'clock, and 11 o'clock is when I said I'm done with my business time because I need to go shower and get ready for bed. Then I'm done, and just, they may respond right away or they may not respond, but it doesn't matter. I'm not going to hop back into Messenger until it is my Messenger time again the next day. So unless it's like a quick one. If we're building relationships, those usually do take some time, and I do want to put some thought into them. So those are what I primarily focus on as my high payoff activities. Again, it's all about engagement, offering value to attract the right people to you, and following up with those.
Yeah, I think you really did a nice job covering all of them. And one of the things I love and I'm so grateful for are the stories, because that is the fastest way to get into Messenger and build relationships with people, is interacting and engaging with other people's stories and actually leaving a comment, not just doing the hearts or the likes, but also like actually commenting on that story, finding something within their different posts of the day that you could like actually send a message about and start that conversation and really find out more about them, or what their goals are, what they have going on in life or business, and really connecting with them in that way. So I think that would be, that's one of my favorite things to do as part of my DMO. And then like Brandie said, just making sure you are consistent with your own content and with your message. So we are going to wrap this up. We hope that this was super helpful for you. Again, we'd love to hear from you. Leave a review so we can shout you out. And we're just so grateful that you are here on our Rise to Your Purpose podcast. So please jump over into our community Purpose Partners on Facebook. You can follow us on Instagram so you can check everything out in the show notes. But yeah, we're super grateful for you, and continue to move forward in building your Kingdom Impact Network marketing business. We'll see you next time. Rise to Your Purpose will be a weekly podcast. Our hope is to inspire and educate you on your entrepreneurial journey to help you fuel your passions, live your purpose, and build a business that works for you.
You can subscribe, rate, and comment on any podcast app. We'd love to hear from you. It makes us so happy to see you tuning in to the show. So if you're on Instagram, let us know what your favorite part of the show was by taking a screenshot of the episode you tuned into and tag us at LiveVictorious on your story. Let us know what your favorite quote or takeaway from the episode was, so that we can be inspired to keep creating content like this for you.
To learn more about us and get involved with our community of mission-driven entrepreneurs, join our Facebook group, Purpose Partners, where we partner together in faith and business. So until next time, build a business that works for you and stay in alignment with your mission.